We need to get back to the Bergdahl story. President Obama said today the last American prisoner of the Afghan war has not yet been debriefed, and the team that's treating Sergeant Bergdahl released a statement saying he is participating now in his health care. It says the team's full focus, though, really remains to provide necessary medical care and a safe environment for Bergdahl's recovery. Neither the president nor the hospital said whether Bergdahl has spoken to the military. Keep in mind, some of Bergdahl's former colleagues say he deserted before he was captured back in 2009. And in the first such statement of its kind, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff posted today on his Facebook page that, like any American, Bowe Bergdahl is innocent until proven guilty. He said the Army's leaders will not ignore misconduct if it occurred. So joining me now from New York, Robert McFadden. He is a former federal law enforcement officer and now senior vice president of the SUFAN Group. He also served as a special agent in charge of criminal investigations in the Navy. Robert McFadden, welcome.
Thank you.
So the president said Bergdahl hasn't been debriefed. That was his word. And that the hospital says, of course, his health, and we just heard the report from the Pentagon, his health is the full focus of doctors. My question to you is, do those statements mean categorically that no one there at Landstuhl in Germany has asked him to tell any part of his story?
The short answer to that, Brooke, is no. It's driven first and foremost by the sergeant's health and welfare. So the next steps, and it will be a very, very sequential, by-the-book procedure here with such a huge case and situation, be predicated by the medical professionals whether he's okay to talk. Now, it just depends on the situation with his health, and as far as we know, if there's medical clearance and the sergeant indicates that he's okay to talk, it may be possible that there's already a dialogue and a debriefing ongoing.
You mentioned the word that the president used, debriefed. Is there, Robert, is there a difference between being debriefed and interrogated?
Well, it's really just a fine distinction. But in a situation like this, where you have an American service member who was held by the enemy behind lines for 5 years, that's an extraordinarily long period, and the potential for a great amount of fresh and actionable intelligence is there. So think more in terms of the operative of a phrase or approach as a debrief more so than an interrogation.
What do you think the priority is? Do you think the priority is what secrets can he share, what intelligence from the Taliban that he gleaned in 5 years, or is it, did you leave your post in 2009?
No, it's definitely the former. I mean, from my experience in government, again, he has bona fide emplacement to the potential for great amounts of information that are of use to planners, maybe even for safety of personnel. So therefore, it's driven by the information. Now, on the other hand, though, it's so circumstantial, depending on the conditions the sergeant was held in, for example, extreme isolation, the take could be potentially disappointing. But first and foremost, though, that is what information from the time he was turned over to Special Operations Forces at repatriation, for the seconds and the minutes backwards, going back to the time through his captivity, what information does he have available?
I'm also curious, a lot of people were surprised initially. We saw the president speaking, with his parents over the weekend. They have yet to see or speak with their son. Is there any reason other than the obvious that really his health is the priority, that the parents have yet to talk to him?
Some speculation on my part, but it may be due to the health issues. I wouldn't be able to say whether it was actually another situation where, let's say, for operational reasons, that wouldn't be the case. I tend to doubt that, but tend to think it's more due to the health and welfare situation.
And then just finally, quickly, Robert, does he, as a member of the military, would he have the right to remain silent?
Well, again, this is really an apt question right now, and so much of this depends on what information was available from the previous DOD investigation that we're reading about. What's in the dossier now? Potentially, after or maybe parallel with a debriefing, that could very much be the case. If there are elements of the crime, then he is a service member. Of course, under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, he'd have a right to counsel and a right to silence.
Okay. Robert McFadden, Special Agent in charge of criminal investigations in the Navy, and now Senior Vice President of the SUFAN Group. Thank you for your expertise today. I really appreciate it.